Welcome back to the Human Algorithm Podcast, where we explore the intersection of technology, business, media, and the growing importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Today, I'm honored to have a truly inspiring leader join me, Uma Thana Balasingam. She previously led a $1 billion business in APAC with over 800 plus people in 48 markets, built Lean in Singapore with 7,000 plus community members in over 9 years. Wow, that's impressive. And she founded the Elevate Group to progress women and is now building an ecosystem of companies redefining success, work, and life beyond the traditional path. And she's a podcast host as well with Raw with Uma podcast. And I think she films here as well, but it's the first time in this room. So welcome back to Poster. So Uma is passionate about women's empowerment, inclusion, and redefining power dynamics in Asia. And she's also my mentor. So Uma, you have an incredible journey from tech sales leadership to community building, leading powerful conversations about perimenopause, which we'll get into later, and women's health. But before we start properly, can you tell us what's something people don't know about you?
So, I grew up across the border from Singapore in a little city called Johor Bahru. And something most people don't know about me is that I was told I had a weak heart.
Oh.
And my mom would take me to this Chinese medicine. They would do the cupping. They'd make me drink this, not so great tasting kind of soup that she would boil for me. And so for a big part of my childhood, I wanted to prove that my heart was strong. And so I did the 100 meters, I did, relay, I did 200 meters. I think I collapsed after one 200 meter land. I took
still
up
alive, so
netball.
that's good.
But I never knew what it was exactly.
Yeah.
But I think for a big part of my childhood, I was trying to prove that I was strong and not this weak person.
Yeah.
Many years later, I did the white collar boxing for that very same
You
reason.
win.
No, I did not. But I won in other ways.
Okay, yes, of course. I love that. And even now, because I know you go to the gym quite often, do you still get that weak heart, or is it still a factor?
Well, I kind of know what it is, and it's nothing to worry about.
Okay.
So my doctor explained kind of what it was, but nothing to be concerned about. I just need to work harder.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think you have a big heart, so doesn't matter whether it's weak or not. So let's dive into it.
Yeah.
And I want to start by talking about how you have challenged systems like corporate structures, gender norms, and even ageism, which you talk a lot about on LinkedIn, right? What's been the most stubborn belief about yourself that you had to unlearn to become the woman you are today?
So for context, my mom lost a boy at 6 months and then a girl at birth. They then adopted my sister, who's differently abled, and then had me. So in many ways, I was the golden child, the survivor. And I think I carried that label for a very long time. And when you carry that label, I think you prove that you are here for a reason. So you want to be perfect at everything. You believe that you have to trade love for being good at something, being better at something, being valued for something. And I think that's one of the biggest things I've had to work on.
Oh, that's very powerful. And I think, as you mentioned, that you are the only surviving child aside from your adopted sister, right? And it's a responsibility most people can't see. How has the invisible weight shaped your drive or maybe your perfectionism? And what does it do to your inner critic?
Yeah, I think the inner critic is always in there. And I think as I was growing up, it was a very strong voice because there were so many other dimensions to it. I was dark skinned in a country that likened beauty to being fair. In fact, my mother would make me use the Fair and Lovely cream from India so that my skin would become more light. And then I was awkward as a child. I didn't have good teeth. I had to wear braces at 12. So that is a huge confidence hit. I didn't get any attention from boys as I grew up as well. And then instead of being the younger sister, I became the older sister because we would go to the same school, but because my sister couldn't keep up. And this is back in the days where teachers, even parents, don't really understand how to navigate differently able people. And so there was so much shame and I think people don't even consider the impact on a child. Like I would get called into her classroom, which has all the bigger kids. And then I had to stand in front and listen to the teacher complaining about my sister because I became the messenger. So all of that put together, I don't know if I got to experience childhood as much as I would have liked to. And I think this now translates into I don't have enough play in my life because I missed out on that in my childhood. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that somehow because my daughter, she's neurodiverse and she's nonverbal, and we've been in situations where she cannot explain herself why she's doing certain things, and I have to be an advocate and to talk on her behalf. But it's definitely a challenge, and you speak very passionately about women who don't just need mentors, right? Mentors, and they need sponsors. And you had an event previously as well where that you link women up with sponsors, and they need sponsors who put names on the table. Can you take me back to a moment when someone saw your potential before you did and change your trajectory forever? And also talk a little bit about the Walk the Talk event as well.
Sure. So in 2009, I joined a company called EMC, and I go to new hire training, which is in Hong Kong. And that's the year that CNN happens to come because we were known for doing the firewalk for new hires. And this one hotel allowed us to do it in their lawn. And because CNN was coming, the president for Asia came up. His name is Steve. And I got picked as the before and after, before the firewalk, after the firewalk. So I ended up on CNN. I'm in Australia for a work meeting and I see myself on television. I get an email from Steve saying, great job representing the company. And I get 30 minutes with him. I go into his office and we have a conversation. He said, so what would you like to do? And I hesitated because every time I said I wanted to be CEO, I got one of two responses. You're too ambitious or you're very ambitious. I'm like, should I even tell Steve? And I decided I should. And I said, Steve, I would love your job someday. And without even like a few seconds of pause, he just blinked and he said, and when would you like that by?
Wow. Powerful.
And I think so many of us don't think about the weight of our words. And that was like such a defining moment for me. I've told this story many times. I got to tell it once when Steve and I shared a panel many years later. And I think that is a form of allyship, which then translated to sponsorship. So coming back to your question, I believe women are over-mentored and under-sponsored. And the difference is that mentors advise and sponsors act. Ideally, you have mentors who are also sponsors, but sponsors use their reputation. They put that on the line to do something that's going to benefit you. It's somebody saying, hey, you should give 30 minutes to meet Sean, right?